Hey, I'm Brent Sluder. I'm the welding teacher at Science Hill High School. I'd like to welcome you guys to JD Squared, a local industry that sells worldwide plasma tables and tubing benders. Stick around and we'll take you on a tour. This guy behind me is fabbing up a stainless steel tank for one of their plasma tables. This is kind of their research and development area where they try to come up with new ideas. They've got tubing cutters, plasma tubing cutters. They've got CNC MAD series plasma table, all kinds of good stuff here. This is some of the parts that they fab up from completely scratch out of solid material. They've been powder coated and everything and made them look to their specifications. You can see behind me they've got some tubing benders. JD Squared actually donated one of these tubing benders to Science Hill High School, helping the local industry. This is Ralph Trent, and he's doing some powder coating for JD Squared. I walked up to this guy and was talking to him, and turns out I used to have him in class a few years ago. After he gets through spraying it, they put it in an oven and it bakes on the coating. Alright, what we're watching right now is what's called a CNC laser cutter. It really don't seem like it's doing a whole lot, but it's cutting out mass production of parts for their actual machines that they build. Alright, I'm standing here with Cody at JD Squared, and he is their quality control guy. He's sitting here having to measure all these parts, make sure everything's good to go. If you look around him, he's been going through and checking a bunch of parts. Some of it's not always good, some of it is. You like working here at JD Squared, Cody?
I do. It's a fun place to work, man. They work with a bunch of good people.
I'm standing here with Derek, and he operates a CNC mill here, manufacturing parts. CNC keeps coming around and around. It stands for computer numerically controlled machine. Hey, it's Brent Sluder at Science Hill High School. I'm sitting here with Bob Hughes of JD Squared, President and CEO here in Johnson City, and I was going to interview him and ask him a few questions. Bob, what brought you to this? What brought you to this company?
The reason I started the company was I was a fireman, and at the time I was street racing, and I made driver on the Fort Lauderdale Fire Department, and they had a rule: if you got 3 moving violations, you could no longer drive because it's a liability if they get sued or something like that. So I couldn't street race no more, and I was actually making more money street racing, drag racing, all, than I was working as a fireman. So my wife, she went out and bought me a $100 Ford Maverick so I could build a real race car and not street race anymore. And so I did. We got it. I gutted it all out. Me and my buddy got a warehouse. We were all excited, and we put the bought the tubing to build the roll cage and everything. And then I went down to the local rental place to rent a tube bender, and they go, "Well, we don't rent tube benders. We only rent pipe benders, and you can't use pipe in a race car. It's got to be tubing." So anyway, I'm in Fort Lauderdale down there, a pretty populated area. So we looked at all over, everywhere we could find a rental place, Miami, everything, and not a single one had a tube bender. In fact, to this day, that was back in 82 or 81. To this day, I've never seen a rental place that rents a tube bender. So me being an idiot, I thought, well, I don't have any kids. I'll work a few extra shifts for some of the other firemen that have children, maybe at Christmas or something like that. I'll save up $300-400, go out and buy me a tube bender. And then I actually started pricing tube benders, and it turns out the cheapest one I could get at the time was a Greenlee Model 782. Shows you how much impact it had on me. It was so expensive, I actually remember the model number. And it was an electrician's bender for $1,800. Well, when you're making $400 something a week, that isn't in the charge. So after I was got over being all bummed out, it occurred to me that if I need a tube bender, somebody else needs a tube bender, because all my other people I knew that raced and everything, they were paying electricians to do the bending for them, and I'm kind of stubborn. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do it myself. So bottom line was, started my dad's garage, you know, got a little 900 square foot warehouse, and figured out how to build a tube bender, and zippity zappity bang, and here we are. You know, so now it's the #1 bender in the world, and I think we've sold, I don't know, tens of thousands of them. I don't know, but that's how I got here. It basically, I needed something, figured out other people needed the same, you know, could need that, figure out how to build it, and that's basically my advice in life too. By the way, find something somebody needs, supply it either better or cheaper, and let capitalism take over. You'll be fine.
So you build tubing benders. You started out building tubing benders.
Yep.
You also make plasma tables and tubing cutters.
Yep.
And you're venturing into some air handling system too, right?
Yep, we're going to be doing that. And it gets back to what I just said. Air handling systems. We had a couple guys come up to a trade show, and they're going, I've got your table, Bob. I love the table. I'm here at the Fab Tech trying to buy an air handler, and they said, you got to build air handlers, man, because these things are like $20,000, you know. And he goes, I'm not going to put a $20,000 air handler on a machine that I just paid 16 grand for. It seems crazy. So we've already bought all the filters, all the valves and everything, and we're going to be working on a new air handler, and our price target is around $6,000. So almost a third. And even at that, we're making a fair day's wage for fair day's work, you know. At $20,000, I could build that $20,000 air handler for about 4 or 5 grand. I'm not sure how I got the 20 grand, you know, but we'll see what happens. But that's what we're doing.
So I'm doing this for the students, the welding students.
Yep.
How many welders do you think you employ here?
I think we got 4 right now, and we've got the new wood routers getting ready to come out, and we're excited about that because we've been building plasmas now for about 4 years, I think, a little over 4 years. And we've got a really, really good wood routing machine out there, but that market is 3 times larger than our current plasma market. So we're going to need more general metal fabricators, welders, stuff like that. So I would say probably, and then also we're getting ready to build a really big machine. So we'll probably hire another 4 to 6 welders here within the next 12 months, you know. And we like to go to the vocational schools, Tennessee Tech, people out of Science Hill, and everything like that, because they just do a good job. We've never really seen anybody come out of any of those schools that was subpar. They all fit our needs pretty good. In fact, several of our welders out there, that's where they were taught.
So we were talking earlier, Bob. You mentioned that you'd never taken any trade classes in high school, that you actually went to a local Votech and took a class to learn how to weld, to learn to build all these things. Did you get a lot out of it whenever you went?
Yeah, I kind of taught myself to weld, you know, machine everything by buying the little paperback books put out by a company called Tab at the time. I actually made an iron furnace, a cupola, and all this stuff out of books. And then, but I would have other people would help me, people that knew what's going on. They would come into my little shop, and I remember clear as a bell, a guy came in, and I was welding, and you got to remember, I kind of taught myself, so I was all about pretty weld, didn't really know a whole lot about, you know, penetration, things like that and all. So I was push welding, and I think I was welding like 3/8 inch or 1/2 inch steel together. And he said, Bob, you're doing that wrong. You need to drag weld that for penetration. And that's what happened. You would have people that knew what they were doing, and they would give me help. I wish I had gone to vocational school, you know, when I was a young man, you know, out of high school or in high school, but it never occurred to me at the time because I didn't know I was going to be building stuff. I just was all about, you know, racing cars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but I did go when I was in my 40s. I took 2 semesters at a vocational school because I wanted to learn how to TIG weld a beer can together, you know, Coke can or whatever. And it turns out it's hard, you know, so I never actually accomplished it. But it was really fun. So I had a lot of respect for the teachers and everything there because they just did a good job.
So saying all that, we've talked about you wished you had taken some classes when you were in high school.
Sure.
You got any recommendations for kids that are going now that are taking these classes? And
yeah. Well, you gotta realize now. I look through everything through a particular pair of glasses, you know, and I'm all about manufacturing. There's a lot of ways to do well in life, you know. Real quick little story. We were at Cootie Brown's with my friends, and we're all into exotic cars and all this stuff. So we kind of like a traveling car show, and we're in Cootie's, and a waiter asked for our table, and he specifically asked for our table because he wanted to know basically how did you guys end up with these cars? You know, how did you do this? And all of my friends, we have something in common. We're all pretty much self-made, and we don't like hoity-toity people, you know. So we're very much just normal, everyday people. So we told him, the secret is simple. You got to work hard. That's all you got to do. And so anyway, he took it to heart and went to real estate school. And now I think he's like one of the top 10 realtors in the state of Tennessee. This is only in the last couple of years. So he found his calling in real estate. I found my calling in building stuff because I just love to fabricate. You know, we have a saying around here. You know, if you remember the old Mr. T saying, "I pity the fool," our saying around here is, you know, "I pity those who can't fab." You know, because if we want something, we build it. You know, and the good thing is too, because you got to realize about manufacturing in general, welding, machining, whatever. You're actually creating wealth. You know, a real estate agent or a lawyer, doctor, something like that. They're absolutely necessary for society, but they don't create wealth. When somebody builds something, they've made something out of nothing, and it's worth something. Therefore, you have created wealth, and that's how economies grow. Is through manufacturing. Generally, look at China. It went from nothing to a powerhouse, and it was all through manufacturing. So I tend to look at everything through the manufacturing glasses or whatever. And another cool thing about manufacturing is, and I'm just saying if one day you decide you want to build, you know, you found a product, you got an idea, you want to build it. The way I look at the world right now is if I wanted to make more money, since I have a factory and I manufacture, just find another product, build another product. So whereas a restaurant can't really just necessarily snap their fingers and add more customers, in the manufacturing world, you can just build another product. You know, so I tend to like manufacturing.
Cool. Well, Bob, thank you. This has been a little clip that we've made for the welding kids at Science Hill. Bob's been gracious enough to spend his time with us and let us do an interview with him, and I appreciate it, Bob. And you have a good day.